Clara Barton was at Chatham. Clara was, during the Civil War, an emerging figure in American history. Later she would become famous as the founder of the American Red Cross. But she earned her stripes, if you will. She gained her great experience on the battlefields of the Civil War. Fredericksburg was not the first of her battlefields. She had been to Antietam, she'd been to Cedar Mountain, and elsewhere. But this offered one of the most intense experiences of her career working in Virginia with the Union armies here. She arrived before the battle. She was here on that haunting eve before the army started its effort to cross the Rappahannock River. She watched from the front of Chatham as Union soldiers struggled across the river on the afternoon of December 11th, 1862. And then when those soldiers fell in that effort, she started caring for the wounded here at Chatham. During the battle itself on December 13th, she actually crossed into Fredericksburg. She's probably the only woman to have crossed into town to help care for the wounded. In fact, as she crossed one of the pontoon bridges along the Rappahannock, she recorded later that an artillery shell passed between her and the man who was at her side, tearing his jacket and ripping her skirt. So close it came to them. They went across and worked on wounded in a private house, but by the 15th of December returned to Chatham, and it's her work here that would become ultimately so famous. She described the house vividly. She said the soldiers covered every foot of the floors and porticos. They lay on the landing of the stairs. A man who could find opportunity to lie between the legs of a table thought himself rich. He was not likely to be stepped on. In an ordinary cupboard with 4 shelves, 5 men lay and were attended as they fed. In an ordinary cupboard with 5 shelves, 5 men lay and were attended and fed as if in bed. 3 lived to be removed. 2 died of wounds. Think of trying to lie still and die quietly, that you should not fall off your bed 9 feet high, she said. Clara Barton would encounter dozens of soldiers here, and she would record the names of those men that she cared for here. Many of them she would encounter later in her travel and in her work, and she would naturally receive the gratitude of all of them for her efforts here. She remained here until Chatham was evacuated as a hospital, probably on December 23rd. And during that time, she cared for dozens of soldiers here, often feeding them, writing letters for them, or sometimes merely spending time with them as they died, so that they would not die alone. And while she wrote stoically of such moments, you can imagine easily that such moments took a toll on her as well.